Okay, what's going on, everybody? Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is DKEN, and welcome to my incredible podcast. Now, before we continue any further, do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your boys and your families, follow me on Instagram, smash that bell notification button, and enjoy. Now, let's get started. Our top story for today shall be the Brian Laundrie situation. Now, let's take this way back. Let's start from the very beginning, and we shall advance forth step by step. Along with this, we will be showing some brief footages as well, okay? As all of you may remember, Brian Laundrie was the man who murdered his girlfriend, Gabby Petito, at that time. Now, here's the thing. When this first started, both Brian and his girlfriend, Gabby, went on this cross-country trip. They were traveling through various states like Utah, Wyoming, and so forth. Unfortunately, after the cross-country trip, they had some sort of a physical altercation when they were in the grocery store over in Utah during August 12th. So the local of that town had to call the cops on Brian and Gabby. To specify even further, there was a witness who claimed he saw Brian slap Gabby, and after that, they drove off in some white van. All right? The cops followed them down and stopped them on some freeway. Now, on the police report, it claimed that Brian slapped Gabby. However, the cops' body cam footage showed that it was Gabby who instigated the altercation. Because of the footage, it showed that Brian had sustained some injuries, such as scratches on his body. Needless to say, Gabby's family were heartbroken by this, and as time progressed, every single news network heard about this story, and they were super curious as to what happened to Brian. Not only the local cops were conducting a manhunt for this guy, but even the feds had to step in and help. Now, here's the sad news. Several days after the trip, even Brian's parents reported him missing. Starting from that point, everyone was looking for both Brian, aka the person of interest, and of course, the victim, Gabby. So with all of that said, I'm going to present to you the compilation of clips where it will go into detail about this specific incident, okay? Let's check it out.
Gabby Petito and her boyfriend had a physical altercation during the cross-country trip that ended in her mysterious disappearance. Brian told Gabby to take a walk to calm down, according to a police report. She didn't want to be separated from the male. Gabby began slapping him. Then Brian grabbed her face and pushed her back. Gabby was crying the entire time, and police described it as more of a mental, emotional health break than a domestic assault. Cops say Gabby and Brian were ordered to spend the night apart till things cooled down.
This was the video that showed not everything was okay on Brian and Gabby's road trip. Body cam footage captured by police questioning the couple on the side of the road after they'd had an argument.
It's the just released 911 call in the Gabby Petito case.
I'm on the corner of Main Street by Moonflower. I'd like to report a domestic dispute.
What were they doing?
We drove by and the gentleman was slapping the girl.
He was slapping her?
And then we stopped. They ran up and down the sidewalk. He proceeded to hit her, hopped in the car, and they drove off.
A newly released 911 call details a possible sighting of Brian Laundrie.
He was acting funny. And I'm 99.99% sure that was him.
So at this point, it was basically what I like to call a pedal to the metal, if you will. It was a competition to see which one will catch Brian once and for all and win himself a prize, like a promotion or accommodation. Hell, even Dog the Bounty Hunter was going after Brian. Even Brian's local neighbors over at North Point, Florida demanded answers.
Brian? Let me have you, Brian! What did you do? You're living it every night, aren't you, boy? Turn yourself in, Brian. Once in your life, be a man.
Now let's take a few steps back. They did say that in regard to Gabby and Brian fighting, the police report did say that Brian slapped Gabby, but the cops' body cam footage tells a completely different story. At this point, all of you should be able to connect the dots, if you will. You should be able to realize that there is more to the story than meets the eye. Matter of fact, here's what I shall do next. I shall present to you the body cam footage of when the cops stopped Gabby and Brian in the freeway. Now keep in mind, I'm only going to show you the golden key details as to what was said because I need to make sure that these clips are in direct compliance with the fair use policy. So with that said, let's check out the footage.
You want to place your vehicle into park and go ahead and turn it off for me? Okay, turn off your engine. Go ahead and set your keys on the dash for me, all right? What's your guys' names?
Gabby.
Gabby, Brian? Okay. What's going on? How come you're crying?
I'm sorry, we've just been fighting this morning.
I'm sorry I hit the bump there.
I was distracting him from driving, I'm sorry.
Can I get you to step out of the vehicle for me, man?
Yeah.
So this is the part that started boiling my fucking veins. This is the part where she's going to start playing as the victim, you know, the sweet little innocent angel, and she will disguise herself as the victim by using what? Tears! This is where she starts portraying herself as the victim using tears. Because at the end of the day, modern American females are conditioned to portray themselves as the victim in order to get out of the situation, in order to avoid taking ownership of their fuck-ups. That's the point where we need to call them out, okay? Do not hesitate to call them out whenever they are in the wrong. Now, notice how Gabby said that she was distracting him from driving, and he said that he was sorry for hitting the bump. So what does that tell you? Now, let's be honest and real here. Can you connect the fucking dots, okay? What does this tell you? Put down your fat ass answers on the comment section below this video right now. Right this moment. Now, for those of you that could not figure this out, I don't know what's going on in your minds, but I shall tell you right now. She did something. And when I say something, I mean she must have jerked the wheel left and right on purpose, and that's why Brian hit the bump by accident. Now, I could be paranoid. I could be overthinking. However, that's what may have happened. In these moments, this is where you have to play detective in order to find out what really happened. So keep all of this in mind as we progress further in the footage.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, some days I really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him.
Okay, whoa. Did all of you hear what she just said? Here, watch it again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, some days I really bad OCD, and I was just cleaning and straightening up the back of the van before, and I was apologizing to him.
She just said live on footage that she has OCD. See, right there, that is a giant bloody red flag that I would have avoided at all costs. So far, I do not like what I'm hearing, and the officer or the deputy, like whichever one it was, he's just brushing this off like it's not that big of a deal. Just keep in mind, for those of you that do not know what OCD stands for, it stands for Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. In plain English, it's one of those conditions that make you spaz out and freak the fuck out over small and simple little things that can be fixed in literally seconds. That's what it means. Moving on.
I'm sorry that I'm so mean, because sometimes I have OCD and sometimes I just get really frustrated. Not like mean towards him. I just like, hey, I'm sorry if I'm in a bad mood. I've just been really stressed. I had so much work I was doing on my computer this morning.
What do you do for a living?
Well, I hate to forget an organic juice bar, but I just quit my job. To travel across the country. We've just been fighting all morning, and he wouldn't let me in the car before. And then
Why wouldn't he let you in the car? Because of your OCD?
He told me I needed to calm down. But I'm perfectly calm. I'm calm all the time. He really stresses me out.
Oh no. So this was the part where she starts pointing her finger at Brian and started suggesting that it was his fault for stressing her out, when in reality, he should have never got involved with her in the first place, okay? That's fucking bottom line. People with OCD will start spazzing out over shit that is not even that big of a deal. So in a way, I feel somewhat sorry for Brian because he was the one that had to put up with Gabby's drama. Now, what does this teach us? This is very simple. It teaches us that as soon as we come across a drama machine such as Gabby, who spazzes out over any little trivial thing in the world, gentlemen, you don't have to tolerate her drama. You could simply kick her the fuck out of your life. if she was your girlfriend, okay? Kick her to the curb, let some little schmuck deal with her drama. Very simple. You don't have to put up with these females that simply want to produce drama and literally try to kill you while you are driving the fucking vehicle. Don't forget, she did say that she was distracting him while he was driving. That means that she could have gotten the two of them, including herself, killed, okay? Let's continue.
So, tell me what's going on.
She just gets worked up sometimes, and I try and really distance myself from her, so like I locked the car and I walked away from her. What happened this morning is that she's trying to start up like her own. She just got worked up because we were trying to get going and get her day going because we want to go.
Okay. You want to tell me about those scratches on your face?
She had a cell phone in her hand, that's why I was pushing her away, because she wanted me, I locked the keys so I could walk away.
So Brian was simply trying to get away from her. He made that point very clear to the cops. He was trying to put some distance between himself and Gabby. He locked the vehicle so he can get away from her. I personally think that he was innocent only during this moment, okay? I understand that what happened after this incident, it was Brian's fault, okay? I get it. But let's take one step at a time. During this stop, he was innocent and she was guilty of what she did. Moving on.
Can I see your hand? Oh, you got a mark right here.
Oh, that's from a wire.
That's from a wire?
Yeah.
You want to tell me about hitting that curb?
Hitting the curb was her grabbing the wheel.
She grabbed the wheel?
Yeah. She said, I can't believe we're getting pulled over, and then she grabbed the wheel.
What about the speed? Did she take over the...
Take
over the pedal on you?
If I was going fast, I'm sorry. No, it's probably just the moment of, I'm still shaking now. The adrenaline, seeing the lights flashing up, and then her gripping the wheel. So if I sped up, I'm sorry about that.
So in my professional opinion, I believe that he's telling the truth at this moment, okay? I believe that his injuries are consistent with his side of the story. As for her, she needs to answer for this because he did say that she grabbed the wheel, which is why he accidentally hit the bump earlier. Moving on.
It took quite a bit to catch up to you. So, yeah.
Did he hit you though? I mean, it's okay if you're saying you hit him, but I understand if he hit you, but we want to know the truth. Did he actually hit you? Where did he hit you? Don't worry. Be honest. He slapped your face or what? So has he been drinking? What was up with his driving? This officer said he hit a curb. While you're driving? While he was driving, you were hitting him?
So right there, she confessed to committing assault. Brian could have charged her right there on the spot and she would have gone to jail for that. But nope, that's not what he did. By the way, I do not know why the producers of this footage decided to mute portions of this video, but I can tell you this. That seems very suspicious because if you are muting portions of this footage, that tells me that they must have left out certain key details about this incident. So I'll tell you one thing, that bothers me a lot. I'm not sure about any of you, but I was very disappointed about this. I'm just letting you know this up front. Moving on.
If you know you have anxiety, look at the situations you can get in. And we're not here to be mean to you or anything. Well, you know, there's a first time and then it usually, you've heard everything now from...
Quick question, you said you were hitting him in the arm. Did you grab the steering wheel?
No, I didn't.
You did not touch the steering wheel?
But only for like a second.
What happened? Where did all the men go?
So at this point, this is where all of you need to realize that it was her that instigated this entire situation from start to finish. Let's do a quick recap. She said that she was distracting Brian from driving. She struck him in the arm, scratched his face while he was driving. She was screaming at him, which resulted in some sort of altercation hours prior to getting stopped by the cops in the freeway. And now she claims that she never touched the steering wheel, then changes her story by saying, oh, only for like a second. And these cops that were questioning them simply said, okay, we'll let it slide. It's not that big of a deal. Remember, folks, the cops will always believe the female simply because They think that she is the sweet little fucking innocent angel who did nothing wrong just because of the tears running down on her face. This is why I don't trust cops nowadays, because they will always take the female's word over a guy who was trying to defend himself. This was the golden key detail that made me experience a brief seizure because of the fact that she chose to change her story. Notice how at first she said, "No, I didn't touch the steering wheel," and then the next moment she said, "Oh, only for like a second, you know." This is why most men out here are simply tired. They are frustrated. They have reached their maximum limits with modern American females that try to fucking kill their boyfriends while they're driving down the freeway. So at the end of the day, y'all should not be mad at guys like me that try to take the time to look at the situation from an objective point of view. She confessed to assaulting her boyfriend while he was driving. She confessed to having OCD, which is a giant red flag. And speaking of red flags, this gal had way more red flags than a Chinese Communist parade, as Coach Greg Adams would say, okay? Even he did an episode about this story, but unfortunately, YouTube had the audacity to take down that specific video for no reason whatsoever. Getting back to the story, she tried to portray herself as the victim when the cops were questioning her, and Brian tried his best to explain himself. In the end, the cops didn't charge any of them, but both Brian and Gabby were instructed to stay away from each other. Now this is where I'm going to give you the short version and simplify the situation. After the cross-country trip, Brian came back home, specifically in Florida, but without Gabby. Several days after that, even Brian's parents became concerned, and they didn't hear one word from him either, so they reported him missing. The local and the federal authorities were trying to look for him, and don't forget, Dog the Bounty Hunter participated in this manhunt, okay? He was looking for him as well. Eventually, not only did they find his truck that Brian used during the getaway, but sometime later after that, they did find his remains in some wilderness park over in Florida. The forensics team had concluded that he died by a gunshot wound to the head, okay? He committed suicide. It was also mentioned in the ME's report that his remains were under 3 feet of water before his body was discovered. So that explains why at first the authorities were struggling to locate him. Also, before I forget to mention, the cause of Gabby's death was strangulation, and her remains were found back in September 19 in the Bridger-Teton National Park in Wyoming. Then 3 days later, on September 22, the feds were able to verify that the remains found in the national park in Wyoming was indeed Gabby Petito. Now let's do some brainstorming right now. We just established that Brian was responsible for Gabby's disappearance and death, okay? He took his own life. In my personal opinion, he probably did it because he felt guilty about what he did, okay? Now here's the thing. It does not excuse the fact that he should never have been involved with a female that has OCD. He should have been smarter than that, okay? I get it. He should have broken it off with Gabby, and he could have started a new chapter when he got back from the trip. He could have started fresh and new, but nope. This is how it ended. Gentlemen, you must learn how to make smarter decisions. See, this kind of issue is not that hard to solve when you really think about it. If you were in his position, all you would have to do is break it off with her. Tell her to have a nice life, and she'll find someone else to put up with her bullshit OCD drama, okay? Because I'm not interested in that. That's what Brian could have done, but he didn't. And yes, it's sad to see that it ended this way. In conclusion, here are several things that we can learn from this story, okay? 1. Whenever you come across a female for the first time that potentially displays signs of OCD, start asking her questions. Do you have a tendency of spazzing out? Do you have a habit of snapping at people? How often do you get depressed? Are you manic depressive? Do you sometimes snap at random moments? These are questions that y'all need to start asking to these females, because you need to know exactly who you're dealing with. But no, none of y'all beta males do that. Y'all beta male simps and cucks are automatically infatuated with her simply because she is physically attractive, or at least that's what you believe, but I don't believe that. But you believe that, which is dog shit, I'm just saying. 2, as soon as you realize that she's up to no good, as soon as you realize that she's simply nuts, just turn around and sprint for your dear lives. Do not call her back. Do not text her back. Don't send shit to her. Just ghost the fuck out of her and do not respond to her at all. even if you two come across each other, try not to acknowledge her, okay? Don't say anything to her and mind your own damn business, okay? 3. This is only for those of you men out there that are currently in relationships, or should I say, toxic and negative relationships. Gentlemen, if you are with a girlfriend that is literally draining the life out of you, if you are with a bitch of a girlfriend that doesn't treat you right, she's making the entire relationship about her, okay? Just break it off before it gets worse, okay? Do not do the same thing that Brian did to Gabby, okay? Do not escalate to that degree. Just pack your things, take everything that belongs to you with you, and just go. Just get out of there and get away from her. Block her number and her messages and get a restraining order if you have to, and tell her to have a nice life, because if she does not care about you and if she does not treat you right, then you have the absolute right to kick her out of your life. I'm pleading with you. Do not do the exact same thing that Brian did to Gabby, okay? This leads to my 4th point. Number 4, for those of you that intend to get a girlfriend, do yourselves a favor. Don't. Okay, you don't need a girlfriend because, and I promise you this, when you get a girlfriend, she is going to enter in your relationship with the rationale that it's all about her. She's going to throw all sorts of obstacles at you. She's going to shit test you every single time. She's going to start making demands. She's going to make you pay for her shit, make you pay for her purses, pay her an allowance, and... Gentlemen, do not be her sugar daddy. As soon as I see you do that, I will call you out. I'll humiliate the fuck out of you for simping. I promise you that. So, with all of that said, this concludes this episode of my incredible podcast. So, thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, share this with your boys and your families, follow me on Instagram, smash that bell notification button, and y'all have a wonderful and blessed day. Peace out.